Twisted Travelers Podcast, your weekly dose of theme park news and entertainment. And now, here to talk all things coasters, theme parks, and even more, here are your hosts, Jack Lathrop and Chris Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Twisted Travelers Podcast. As always, my name is Chris, and I am joined by Jack. Jack, say hello. How you doing?
What if I don't want to say hello?
Whatever. We can just quit. We're not doing it anymore. No more podcasts.
This is it. We're done. Congratulations, you made it to the series finale. It's been a great ride, folks.
Yeah,
No,
sorry, James, you don't get an episode now. Oh, by the way, James is here. Say hi, James.
Yeah, everyone say hi to James, our esteemed guest.
Well, I mean, if they're saying hi to me, do I say hi back? Hi, everybody.
Hello. Welcome.
I mean, we do start every episode, hello, everybody, or hey, everybody, because I just have to make fun of Marcus. That is my entire, being.
It's a reason to exist.
It is. It really is. I'm glad someone else understands.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. We'll get to him later.
Oh, yes, we will.
Sure we will. I'm sure he will get brought up many times. But, yeah, so, if you couldn't tell, James is our guest this week. We're going to have our second half interview with him the whole time, but he's also going to be here throughout all of our normal segments. Shouldn't be a crazy, crazy long episode this week. We've got a decent sized news, continuation of Ride of the Week, your listener questions, and then a couple questions for James and possibly Blake if he joins us. But yeah, y'all ready?
He had to do this thing called eating food. I didn't know that was a requirement to live.
Yeah, we like to feed our children, unfortunately.
Hot take. Feeding children is good. That's a hot take right there.
Moving on before this gets more our patrons, we want to thank those lovely people that give us their money so this can happen. I got the bill for the podcast hosting yesterday, and I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to pay it this year. Of course, Bryant, Graham, Grant, Jaden, and our newest patron, who just happens to be related to one of the hosts, Mr. Mark Jones.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one. But yeah, shout out to all the people who give us money so that we can pay for this. Thank you. If you want to give us money, link to the Patreon is in the description. You get a bunch of cool perks, and I mean, we get money. So it's a win-win for everybody involved.
You want one of these cards. You want one of these cards.
Yes, you do. You need the Jersey Mike's Elite card with Mike Godot. All right. Are we ready to actually hop into this? Okay. We'll start off with some news then. First, Great Adventure teasing a new announcement, and it is not Jersey Devil related, apparently. I'm losing hope that Jersey Devil's going to be open for when we're there.
Yeah, they've got construction. The ride itself is I think almost done. They're doing all of the final checks and everything. There's a train on track. It's just, are they going to finish the landscaping and the queue and the station and all that? And literally a month from today, when we're recording this, is when I'll be there. I have my suspicions. Also, it hasn't tested yet. Now, granted, it's a Raptor, so hopefully the testing process wouldn't take long, but also, it's a Raptor, and we all know how the first two went. They didn't have the smoothest of openings.
Mm-hmm. As far as the announcement goes, I have literally no clue. I don't know what they would be announcing at this point, especially to tease an upcoming announcement. I don't think it would be something as small as a festival, right? But they haven't even opened their ride for this year. It's kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. I've given up making sense of anything Six Flags does, but this one is really confusing.
Mainly SeaWorld, but yeah. Interesting stuff. I have no idea what this is going to be.
I think they said they're announcing it, what is it, the 18th? Did I see that correctly? I'm going to go find it now. Six Flags Great Adventure. Let's go through all the Six Flags pages to try to find it.
I was going to say, I haven't even seen this yet.
I think, was it their Twitter or their Instagram? I think it was their Twitter.
It was their Twitter. It said, okay, announcement May 18th, and it's a tale as old as time, quote, big news coming your way. And then the background is like a steel looking type thing with what looks to be like a talon with a rat. I don't even know. It definitely looks like it could be Jersey Devil related, but then they're like, oh no, it's not the opening.
I'm going back to now. Yeah, I see it. No, this isn't the Jersey Devil opening date. I don't
It's
know.
the Jersey Devil closing date. Surprise! We're tearing out our new ride before we even opened it.
Busch Gardens Tampa moment. Man, I had no idea.
They did a really good job a couple years ago when they first announced Jersey Devil of doing some teasing, even though most of us already knew what was going in there. It's just, I'm sure that there are clues in this picture that we're looking at, and we just don't know what they are.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near big enough of a Great Adventure fan. In fact, until I go in June, I'm going to reside by the fact that I hate the place with a burning passion.
Because tail is not spelled correctly for this use.
Tail should be Tale. This is spelled not. This is spelled like animal tail. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. So they're going to catch us by surprise on this, I think.
Well, of course, the best thing is we're going to record next week's episode and still not know what it is. You'll know what it is when the episode drops, but we won't know when we record it. And by the time we actually talk about it, it will be old news.
Right. But, I mean, just like you have always said when you got it from somewhere, where yesterday's news today. So,
yep.
There you have it. But yeah, kind of odd to be teasing an announcement for something new when you haven't even opened your next ride. But hey, do what you want to do, Great Adventure. Okay. Next up is SeaWorld failing once again to bring up their new for 2070 attractions. Yeah, so they're still just sitting there. And we have gotten no information about them from their earnings calls. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue to be disappointed, and I've come to grips with the fact that it's not gonna open this year. I don't think Quasi or Icebreaker.
Yeah, I know, James, you listened to the call, or did you not get to listen to this?
No, I didn't listen to it, but I do know that it wasn't. The 2021 attractions were not brought up once.
Yeah, every time C's has a call, I'm like, I'm gonna listen to it, and then I have something else to do, and I'm like, well, there goes any hope of listening to that call. But it's becoming such a pattern at this point where I've begun to just accept the fact that I'm never going to ride Pantheon or Iron Gwazi. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're just expensive lawn ornaments.
Exactly.
I know. I wish they would have advertised them that way beforehand, but hey, that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, it makes you wonder though, like, because they did build like in their 2020 season pass campaign around being the first to ride Iron Gwazi.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It makes you wonder if anything that they extend those passes, or when Iron Gwazi does open, that people who let their passes lapse, they at least get to go, so that somebody doesn't come out and sue them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you say that, because I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll go ahead and mention it again. I did spend like the extra $120 to upgrade my fun card to an annual, simply because of that advertising. That pass that I got for that advertising expires in like 15 days. So that's pretty sick. I bought your pass so that I could ride this ride, and I'm not even going to get to use it to do that. I love that. That's an awesome thing that you did there, Busch Gardens. But yeah, I'm just so disappointed and would much rather go to Universal right now. I'll just leave it that way.
And it's the same from someone who has been to Busch, has all the credits. I'm not going back until Iron Gwazi is open. And honestly, at this point, I'm probably not going back in this year at all, even if Iron Gwazi does open, because I would much rather go ride go to a park that actually has the rides I want to ride open and working, because I have a feeling Iron Gwazi is going to have issues after having sat there for the greater part of a year and not having done much.
Who knows, man? Whatever. We'll just see what happens. I have no expectation for them at this point.
But in good news, all of you European listeners, all 5 of you, can go ride the world's newest, it actually is the newest, Intamin creation. Conda opened at Wallaby, Belgium to rave reviews. Everyone I know that's gotten to ride it has put it in their top 5s. It's living up to that Intamin name. It broke down constantly on its opening day.
What a surprise. It looks amazing though. I can't wait to ride this thing. It definitely looks top 10 potential, but won't know till we ride it. But yeah, I'm glad that it's open, and I can't wait for Plopsland to open Ride to Happiness, so that Belgium can just go up, up, and up on the bucket list, so we can get there eventually.
Yeah, well, did you guys see some of the on-ride videos with actual people in them? Because the POV they released with with all the data on it, that was cool, but like actually seeing it with people being flung out of their seats, every other second, it seemed like that, it just made me want to ride it even more.
Some of my favorite POVs of coasters, so the track shot where you're seeing what's coming is great, but watching a rider reaction, especially if they put a girl with long hair in front of the camera so you can watch her hair go up and down, that's always one of my favorite things. Because one of my friends, David, took his GoPro on Mako once and rode with one of his, I think it's one of his nieces, who had very long hair, and there's just the video of the hair just shooting up in the air and just floating there for 7 seconds and dropping back down.
Yeah, I mean, wait. Even we did that on Mako with my hair to an extent. I mean, it's not that long, but you can see it. But
well,
yeah.
I mean, we did that with you, but we did it with my hand just over your head, and your whole head just rising up to smack me.
Yes. But no, I actually haven't seen the videos with riders on it yet. I've just seen the one with all the stats and stuff. But yeah, it looks phenomenal, and I can't wait to go there eventually. All right. And our very last news topic is Six Flags Discovery Kingdom removing Harley Quinn. So Rip Skyline, I'm pretty sure they're done.
What a surprise. That ride didn't flop at all.
Man, that's fast. Like, it was there, what, 2 years, and now it's gone?
I think it was 3 years.
Yeah, not too surprised, though, because every review, I don't think there was one positive review of that.
I think everyone's favorite part was the getting off. And Tidal Twister didn't last.
Wait, did Tidal Twister get removed?
It hasn't operated.
I was gonna say it hasn't operated yet, but I think I saw pictures of it like covered in cobwebs, and part of one of the trains was on in the middle of it or something like that. It's not looking well for that. Anything from that company.
Oh my gosh.
So I remember meeting the guy who designed that, and he was super energetic about it. I'm very sorry. That did not turn out the way you expected it to.
What happened?
I think
it's a pretty simple concept. Other than having two sides that can load, how did it fail that bad?
I got no clue.
That's great. I didn't hear that about Tidal Twister. I think
people just didn't like writing it, and it was loud.
Yeah, apparently it was very loud. The trains weren't comfortable, and if one station went down, they both had to go down because you can't run without both stations working. And then also, if you have 2 stations, that's twice as many staff. I think
I can see it now.
I think it was a good concept, but it needed a lot of work to actually be park ready, especially for a park like SeaWorld or Six Flags, any of them. I think if that had ended up at a smaller park, like I'm thinking the size of Stricker's Grove at maximum, would have been amazing. corporate chain park. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think I see some like smaller park chain, just somebody picking one of these up, used now, and actually doing something with it and putting it in. I don't think it's the last time we see these. I think it gets relocated somewhere. They'll sell
Yeah,
it. They'll sell it for some, for a substantial loss, but it'll end up somewhere. Might be
and
China.
you sell it, you fill it with sand, put some nylon wheels on it, maybe figure out how to get rid of some of the bulk of those trains. I mean, the whole thing needs to be re-engineered, but it could be done, and I think it would be enjoyable if it was done. But
Yeah.
there's not an American park that comes to mind that would actually front the money for a ride like that.
But yeah, so that didn't go well for Discovery Kingdom. Yeah, I definitely think we'll see it somewhere else. We'll just see if it actually works wherever else it ends up. But that does it for news. So now, ride of the week, we are down to 2 for our Schwarzkopf. That is Shockwave at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Oh, New Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas. Good job, Brain. All right, I have the wheel ready. Are we ready to spin?
Spin the wheel.
All right. Here we go. And New Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Jack, it is your week. James, have you been to Magic Mountain or no?
Yeah, I've been a few times. I went back like in 2000 and then like 4 years ago.
Okay, so then you can also be here to review. I have not ridden it, so not my week, but yeah.
So there is so much to there's so much more track to New Revolution than I thought. Of course, the iconic part is the loop, and so I was expecting lift hill, drop, maybe a hill or something, loop, helix, brake run. No, the thing is massively long for what I was expecting. It actually was really fun and really well secluded in the trees. And then you just kind of all of a sudden, it was just, you kind of were going around and fun Schwarzkopf. And then you just kind of came up this hill and just started going down at a 30-degree angle with the loop in front of you. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, you have to do it. There's the loop as you're going through it. Good roller coaster reference. And then it's fun, really pretty. I actually really enjoyed taking pictures of that ride. I think we got 2 or 3 total in while we were at Magic Mountain. Does it have a tunnel? I think it had a tunnel too. I kind of remember the ride. It was fun. That's what I know. The other thing I will always remember is the trains have the most insane popsicle headrest ever.
What do you mean?
They look like popsicle sticks just glued to the back of the train. They're just perfectly long with just half circle at the top. I was like, looks like a popsicle stick.
All right.
So I'll be honest, I don't remember much about it at all. The last time when I went with Blake a few years ago, it was when they were doing the VR thing.
Oh yeah.
And something happened right as we were about to get on, and they closed it for the day, and so we didn't get to ride it. So my last time riding that was in 99 or 2000.
It's a good ride. I gotta ask, since the VR has gotten brought up, and I don't think we've ever talked about this on the show. What are y'all's opinions on VR on roller coasters?
Just not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the concept is really cool, but I think you can't take an existing coaster and add it to it. You would have to build something ground up.
Yeah.
With elements designed for what you could do in a VR world, and it might be okay, but I don't think it's going to be that great. I don't like having headsets on my head anyway.
Mm-mm.
It also just ruins capacity. That's the other main thing.
The one I got to do one roller coaster in VR, and it was Iron Dragon, which was actually the VR Cedar Point came up with for Iron Dragon was really cool, but it took them 20 minutes to dispatch our train.
Mm-hmm.
It also we did it during beta testing too, so we had to sign our lives away to get on it. was like anything for the credit.
I've done VR on a coaster one time, which was Kraken, and I thought the VR was fine, but it just ruined the capacity. I probably waited an hour and a half for it, and in total, that was 4 train wait. That was like a 4 train wait, that hour and a half, because of the VR. And I thought the VR was fine, but it just is not worth it with the ruining of the capacity. And I can see it making sense for an indoor coaster, maybe, that's completely designed around that, like you said, James. But yeah, my experience was not the best.
Yeah, the capacity thing, until they find, like, if it was a completely wireless headset that you could give it to people beforehand, then they get off the train, put it on later, keep the loading and unloading process more seamless. And until they have something that fixes that, it's just not worth it.
Or
Yeah.
figure out how to build it into the actual train.
I mean, AR makes more sense because we've already seen that in Japan, right? With Mario Kart. And so that'll probably end up coming to Orlando with Epic Universe. So AR makes more sense, it seems like, because you can just have the small goggles. And just like with, Gringotts, you just grab the small goggles and then dump them when you get off. Same thing there. That works better, probably. But yeah. Okay.
Good mini tangent about VR and why it's awful.
We're making Marcus proud. All right.
Yeah, we need a much bigger tangent.
Oh, we'll get to one.
I'm sure
we're about to start talking about lightning rod. We're gonna get to a tangent.
That doesn't even really count as a tangent. That's just Jack rambling by himself for 20 minutes.
I can make it a tangent. Don't doubt me.
Right,
but since we're gonna get into that, listen to your questions. This is the part of the show y'all control. You send us your questions on Discord. We may answer them. Actually, we answer all of them. And this one is from Bryant. And there goes the not mentioning him on a show. If lightning rod's reliability never improves, is its future seriously in doubt? The short answer, yes. The long answer, definitely yes. They've spent so much money on this ride. They have literally, I know so many people that work at the park that they're just looking for an excuse to drop a match on it. It is the bane of Dollywood's existence. Even though it is a fantastic ride, I got some of the best rides I've had on it in a long time on Sunday. But it is just such a pain in the butt for that park that they're to the point where in a couple years, I'd say if not in the next 2 years, which in my opinion, in the next 2 years, the ride will be a hybrid coaster. There will not be an ounce of topper track left outside of maybe the station and some of the brake run. That's after the entire retrack is finished. If it's still causing problems, they won't put up with it much longer.
Did it stay up when you were there Sunday?
It stayed up of its own accord. It got shut down by weather, but it was the first time I've been at the park in a very long time where it did not break down by throwing an error or a fault or something.
I was gonna say, when I went there with you, the only time it went down the entire time was when I was waiting with you.
Yep, and I told you, like, this is. Well, I told you when we were standing in line, this is prime rollback conditions because the weather was that wet drizzliness, which is something about I cannot figure it out, but what the correlation is. But if it starts raining, it's either going to be a sensor tripping or something. If it starts raining and getting that drizzle and there's water built up on the track, it will roll back. That is like it will roll back card. Because other than that, out since 2016, they haven't had rollback problems. But if it starts raining, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for anything, it gets to the point where if it's just too expensive and not working, it hits that point where, like, it's just got to go. And Rod is, it seems to be on that path. I'd give it 3 to 4 years if it continues to just go down almost daily. Yeah.
The other thing that everyone has been going nuts over, and I know Chris and I've had this discussion, but I've kept most of my feelings to myself on it. Is everyone was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna reopen, no issues opening day." I was like, "No, that's not gonna happen." Because when you retrack the ride, what they did is not as simple as just like a wooden roller coaster retracking. It's essentially, when it opened this year, a brand new roller coaster. They'd replaced a ton of parts that weren't just track. They were trying to get the thing running. So it had its teething issues. It still has them every once in a while, but in the month of May, it hasn't had a significant issue so far that hasn't been able to be resolved. Thunderhead went down more yesterday than Lightning Rod did. That should be a testament to where it's at right now. The real test for me is going to be seeing how it holds up once we get to November and December, because those months have always been notorious for breaking Lightning Rod. So I'm very intrigued to see what it does in the fall. But again, short answer, if it doesn't maintain where it's at right now, if it stays where it's at right now, I think it's fine. But if it drops again, I'd say it's gone in the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see it leaving. It is just not a good track record, and if it keeps having the same exact issues, then it'll get to that point for sure.
The good news is it keeps having the same exact issues. They know what they gotta fix.
And they haven't done it yet, so.
Well, I mean, okay, so the rollback rain I don't think there's anything they can do to fix it rolling back while it's raining. It's just,
yeah.
Unless you can figure out how to like put like a shield over the entire like launch, which I guess you could cover.
You never know.
You know.
Yeah. But all right. Thank you for the question, Brian.
Lightning rod tangent over.
This one is from someone we were just talking about, and that is Marcus. Why do we have such bad opinions?
First of all, Marcus, we've all heard your Hagrid's take. And until you redact that statement, I will not answer the question.
Alright, fine, then I'll answer. Listen, I've got the time traveler take, but I'm at least, like, somewhat sensical. Like, I'm not freaking insane. Jack's takes are just genuinely bad, and nobody should listen to him.
Burn El Toro. Burn Steel Vengeance.
I have the time traveler take. Everything else isn't
your
bad.
Your takes are normal.
Thank you.
Time Traveler's in my top 5, and it might be the single most fun roller coaster I've ever been on.
Thank you. Exactly. My takes are not bad. It's just him. He is bringing down my reputation. They're that bad.
Burn El Toro.
The guy asking the question just has terrible opinions in general.
I know. He calls Skyrush and Mako trash.
That's his thing on TDR. He is the guy that has horrible opinions.
And yet here he is. Well, okay. Listen, nobody has as bad opinions as Jack.
Vertigo is better than Banshee.
I'm so close to just quitting. That one makes me so mad. Shut up! No, it is not.
Did you say Vertigo may be better than Banshee?
Oh no, it is better than Banshee.
He is so wrong.
That's crazy. Like I'm not a Banshee fan, but God, in Vertigo almost killed my back. So
it's so bad.
So Dad and I are huge fans of Vertigo. I will ride.
Y'all are just KI fanboys.
Yeah, but your dad loves Diamondback.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair. My one complaint about your dad, Jack.
I like Diamondback too.
Is fine, but fanboying over it, no. It is not Mako. Definitely
stealing
not.
my phone so I can text you and annoying.
Okay, Marcus, your takes are worse than mine, but you feel like completely free to clown Jack. His are just the worst. I understand that part, but don't be bringing me into this.
I'm giving El Toro its chance. It's getting its chance at redemption. Apparently, Banshee has been running better this year from what we've heard, so it will get its shot at redemption. Steel Vengeance can have its shot at redemption. Heck, I'll even give Afterburn another chance, even though I think it's one of the weakest B&M inverts.
I mean, it's still a B&M invert. I agree that it's one of the weaker ones, but it's still a B&M invert. It's not like you can get a second chance.
I think it's one of the better ones. But it's not the
It's
best
really
one.
good, but
Everyone going into that ride, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's so good and it's intense." And I've ridden it probably 15 times now,
there isn't a bad
and
invert
it's
out there.
just
That's the
like
thing.
that's you're telling me that's intense. That's not intense.
No, it's intense. It's just short. Like, same
Mm,
reason why I rate the Batman clones lower, even over George's.
see, when I think intense, I'm thinking like I think Copperhead has more G-force than Afterburn. Actually, I think most of the roller coasters at Carowinds feel more intense than
Yeah,
Afterburn.
Hurler
It's
for the
just
win.
God,
Wilderness Run.
Heck yeah.
Hey,
Nighthawk.
that airtime's that's the okay.
The Wilderness Run like threw me off because of how crazy that ending was.
Oh, I forgot we all rode that together. And then there's Hurler, which just jackhammers you through the entire thing.
Hurler was just boring when we rode. It did nothing.
I've had really entertaining rides on Hurler. I've had rides where it just was like, I'm sitting on a park bench that just happens to be strapped to some wheels.
Yeah, it's basically Mamba but wood. Sorry, James. Sorry.
You're
Mamba's
breaking
just-
my heart.
Okay, you have to admit, it didn't do much on that return trip last summer.
Oh, Mamba was horrible last year. It
That's what I'm
needs
saying.
that coaster needs a full train of people.
Yeah, I can see that improving it. It just did absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
It
But
also
I'll
doesn't
give it
help
another
that I rode
chance.
Steel Phantom like 2 weeks prior. It's like, okay, we're coming off the best Morgan here. You got something to live up to. It's like that ride doesn't even need a full train. You could get a Zen ride on that thing, and you would still be trying to hit the moon with the amount of airtime it gives you.
I would just like to see what Mamba could be like if they would have built Steel Eel first. Because I feel like Steel Eel takes everything they wanted to do with Mamba and perfected it, but did it with 40 feet less of drop.
Mm-hmm.
Steel Eel is so good.
Even
and that's the thing.
Steel Force is better in my opinion. Like,
yeah, no, I'd
very
agree.
similar layout. It's just for some reason, and that probably has something to do with that full train hot summer day when I rode it. But it just gave more time and was more enjoyable.
Steel Eel was the first Morgan I did, so you can kind of see what I was hoping Mamba would at least be a little bit like, and then it completely failed. But yeah,
I'm sorry for you.
It's okay. I'll give it another chance when I come back. But
you get to ride Phantoms this year. Your eyes will be open. You will understand what true.
So beautiful.
I'm ready.
You will see the light. You will understand what.
Right. Of all of their coasters, if you can ride it at night.
That's the one
I don't
thing
know how late they're open today. I'm there actually. I'm gonna go check.
Yeah. When I went with the In the Loop guys, and they had ERT on it after hours. And
Wasn't
it was
the free RT?
Yeah, it was free RT, and so I think we ended up with like 30 rides on it, and it was amazing. I think I sat in every seat on it at some point. Between the day and the night, it was awesome.
They're only open till 7.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be there the 12th.
They're open till 9. You might get a night ride. I don't know what time it gets dark in Pittsburgh.
I can probably get at least like dusk, at least.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'm ready to.
The second drop into pitch black.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh my gosh!
None of the other coast, nothing else in the park was lit up when we went there, so it was so cool.
Even if everything else had lights on it, just dropping in, you have no idea how far it is to the bottom. So there's one I've been looking. I've been debating whether or not I'm going to take my drone on this trip or not, just for some off rides, out of park stuff, because do everything legal. People, please don't fly your drones over parks. But since there's a giant river there, which just happens to be perfectly legal airspace, keeping my drone over the river.
Just don't land it in the river.
So I've had to fly my drone from a dinghy, or not a dinghy. It was a chase boat for a rowing shoot I did, and so y'all are gonna have to watch me catch this thing out of the sky, because I had room to take the drone off from the boat, because that was easy. landing it in a moving boat, not so easy. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna need to keep this boat as still as possible so I can try to catch it. And so I just pilot it down and just stick my hand out and just like grab it. And then when you catch a drone, you roll it real fast in your hand overdo the accelerometer, and it once there's too much on the motors, it cuts them off. So I have multiple cuts on my hands from having to catch a drone out of the air, but I got some really cool footage. Anyway,
that was the tangent for you, Marcus.
I mean, that was a real good tangent. Where did we even start with that?
That was that
Bad
about our
opinions.
takes?
That was about the takes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
to
that
finalize,
was
Okay,
you can
quality
roast Jack,
tangent.
not me.
and
Mine
I'll
are
say
fine.
this.
Somehow
Here's
we
the
got
thing.
we got from that all the way to drones in the water.
Yep. So back.
Well
That was
done.
a true Marcus tangent right there. Here's the thing about my takes. Most of them, as much as I hate to admit it, are just for the show and like just for the heck of it because they annoy
Okay,
so many people.
Preface this.
And it's so funny.
Preface this. Your takes are legit, but not to the extent you make them out to be.
No,
You
yeah,
do not like El Toro, but you do not hate El Toro.
No, I don't hate it.
You
but
like Steel Vengeance. You don't dislike Steel
love it,
Vengeance.
yeah. And again, Banshee and Vertigo, I think they're both good rides. I'm be honest, like I'm telling the truth. Like if I had to pick one to ride right now, I would probably pick Vertigo.
See, that's just gross.
I just have way too much fun on that ride.
Have fun with the bruises.
You're riding it this year. I don't care.
I'm not. I will not do it.
You are riding it this year.
I would rather ride Banshee over and over again than riding Vertigo.
You are riding in Vertigo. I'll buy you a nano coaster.
Okay, deal. Fine, we'll do that.
I mean, why ride either of them when you can go over to Mystic?
That's the real question.
Truth.
Okay.
Actual truth.
My only rides on Banshee, I got like 6 or 7 rides when I was there. I thought that it was super smooth, and it's like my second favorite invert. But everybody's saying that it got rough, which I'm expecting it to be rough. We'll see what happens. But I really love it, from what I remember.
I rode it one time last year, and I regretted it immensely.
Man, whatever. All right.
And it was like a middle of the train. It was like perfect weather, and I was like the whole time. I'm like, ow, my head.
Whatever. Okay. Let's move past this. I can't with this Vertigo thing anymore. Okay. We have one last question. This is from Klaus. If the new Gerstlauer goes to Cedar Point, what other Cedar Fair parks would you like to see get a Gerstlauer, and what model? I think there's one that James is familiar with that could get a smaller Infinity for sure.
I mean, Worlds of Fun would be the perfect fit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, even like where Boomerang is, or even back behind Boomerang, where Dinosaurs Alive used to be, that would be a perfect spot for it. And it's got interesting terrain too.
Mm-hmm. I could see Valley Fair getting one too, potentially.
Michigan's Adventure won't get one.
No, they won't.
But they'll get a new trash can.
Yeah. Hey, they repainted Thunderhawk. That's the most impressive thing they've done since
That's
they
their
built
investment
Thunderhawk.
for the next 2 decades.
They need the T3 restraints.
No one's asked them yet. I'm tempted to just reply to that tweet. It's like, by chance are you getting new trains too?
You never know.
Because here's the thing: Thunderhawk is actually not a bad ride. It's one of the better SLC. It's actually probably the best SLC I've done. It's by no means a great roller coaster, but when you're at that park, your options are that or Wolverine Wildcat, and that is a ride I would truly like to take a match to. I've never had a good ride on Wolverine Wildcat. I ride it every year thinking, oh, maybe it's a little better, and every year it gets a little worse.
I mean,
and then I just go ride Shivering Timbers to calm myself.
But
rip the trick track though.
Definitely Worlds of Fun and Valley Fair could get smaller Infinities. But I'm gonna go ahead and assume that if Cedar Point is getting this, it's going to be the inversion record. which means I could totally see Kings Island go the completely different route and get some big hyper-like one, potentially at Vortex Plot, maybe a little further out. I mean, really, at that point, almost every Cedar Fair park that wouldn't already have one could see it as a fit, I feel like. CGA could do something. Canada's Wonderland has enough garbage to replace with one potentially. King's Dominion has room with Volcano being gone, and there could be other clearances in the future. It could really, it's just like a versatile ride type that pretty much every single one of those parks could use, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm on team. It's not going to Cedar Point in the first place, but I still think that doesn't nego. Like, they've already worked with Gerstlauer. Hang Time exists. It's a fantastic ride. So there's no reason they couldn't just build these anyways. I still don't think it's going to Cedar Point. It just doesn't. I don't think it will go to Cedar Point. I think it's going somewhere not Cedar Point.
Somewhere in Tennessee.
After a thorough analysis of the plot, I don't think it's Dollywood either, because there's not.
Somewhere in Missouri.
Maybe. Who knows?
Silver Dollar City, please. But yeah, that's what I could see. We'll see if CP does end up getting that, although
I would love to be proven wrong, but I just don't think it would be Cedar Point. I feel like with the magnitude of the ride they're hyping, or that ride entertainment's like trying to hype up, I feel like we would have already seen something major happen at Cedar Point, because everyone stalks that park like it's no one's business. So I feel like something would have gotten reported if there were ground clearing or anything.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
yeah, or if there's any permits filed for anything. I mean, the people around there are crazy. So I think that if it was Cedar Point, we would have heard something.
yeah, those are good points. I have no idea where this is going to end up now that I think about it. I still think SDC could be a fit with that big clearing that they have. And I mean, Kings Island would have done something by now too, so who knows?
I'm in love with the Glenwood Caverns idea. I know that's
that-
probably
my
not going to
gosh.
happen, but that could be amazing.
It really could. That's the one that
Honestly-
everybody forgets about as a potential fit.
Honestly, here's the thing. If Glenwood Caverns builds that type of ride, it's already like high on my bucket list. That's instant fly to Colorado.
I will go with you. That is... oh my gosh. Carnon in the mountains. Can you imagine?
Oh, that would... Okay. Now I'm just getting all these fantasies about what would it be like if they just had the ride
Yeah, let's
just
show.
just drop into the mountain.
Carnon
Like,
in the mountains. We are insta
Can we have Mystery Mine, but actually in a mine? That would be amazing. And actually good.
They build it around Haunted Mine Drop. Helix at the bottom. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah. That's an amazing idea, but I doubt it. Doubt it. Alright. Well, that is it for questions. Of course, as always, appreciate the questions. If you have questions, join the Discord, link in the description. We ask every week and always answer them. But now, we've got some questions for James. And I don't think Blake is joining us, so just James, yeah.
He might show up.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the boy.
It's all good.
Did you
If
feed
you
him
see
to
him
the
online,
wolves?
give him a hard time.
It's all good. All right.
Okay. So this is actually a question I don't know if I've ever asked. We've even ever talked about this offline, so I'm interested to hear the answer. First question: how did you get into roller coasters?
Pretty basic one, but
Yeah, I mean, so I lived next to like one of the greatest parks in the world growing up, Worlds of Fun. No, it has nothing to do with
best.
that. My first roller coaster that I remember is NBC Zinger. Went to Worlds of Fun, Silver Dollar City a lot when it had next to nothing, because they built Thunderation when I was just about in high school, so there just wasn't much around. Always loved them. Always, looked at the Guinness Book of World Records, wanting to go ride the Beast and all these great roller coasters around the world, but never really did. Then I got married, long time later. Went to Six Flags St. Louis. Got sick on the very first thing I rode, which was Ninja. and didn't ride a roller coaster for 8 years.
Can't blame you there.
Yeah, well, I felt like I was getting sick on absolutely anything, so I just gave it up. Didn't think it was going to happen. Then Blake's my oldest. He came along. He loved watching YouTube videos of roller coasters, and I was cool with letting him watch videos of roller coasters. And then finally, we started going to Silver Dollar City because we lived about 20 miles from there at that point in life, and just started falling in love with them. Originally, like, started off doing tons of Dramamine before I would ride, and then realizing that I didn't really need that anymore, and then kids getting older, riding more rides, and then we moved to Kansas City, had fun at Worlds of Fun, and then one day Ace was throwing it had an event at Silver Dollar City for the opening of Time Traveler, and I went and met some really cool people there. Got like 16 rides on Time Traveler one night, and at that point I was like, you know what, I think I could be a roller coaster enthusiast, because I had bought the Ace membership for Blake as a like a Christmas gift because it came with the magazine, and so that's kind of how I'm here. And then now Blake's super into it. All of my other kids are actually super into it too, and so we've had the fun of traveling around the country and soon around the world for riding coasters.
I love that. That's awesome. That's a pretty simple story when a lot of people have these like complicated ones of how they got into it and all this, but that's really cool that Blake was just kind of like, hey, I like this, and you just kind of followed.
Yeah, I mean, because my wife wasn't gonna step foot on a roller coaster. Like, the only thing I can get her on right now are like B&M Hypers and Gigas, because she loves floater airtime, and so I was kind of the sacrificial. Hey, I'll do it if I get sick, just because the kids enjoy it. And it's been totally worth it. We've had some of the best times of our entire lives going to the parks, meeting people, cool online community. It's been great.
Awesome.
Yep. You mentioned the Ace magazine. When Blake finally comes to Tennessee and realizes how great Dollywood is, we're gonna have to introduce him to my collection, which is,
oh gosh,
about as big as they get. I'm missing two. Ooh, I just hit my microphone. I'm missing 2 issues of the Ace magazine for the entire history of it.
That's insane.
One day I'm gonna look through all of that next time I'm up there.
I mean, I'm making it a lot easier for you to look through, because I'm giving you So here's random tangents. Ace found out that I was getting into all this old collecting stuff, and so now they don't like accept donations from older members of their magazines or news articles or anything they have. They're like, we don't have a place to store it. It would just go in a garbage can. So ever since I got into it, they're like, but there's this kid in Tennessee who might take it off your hands. And so all of these just random Acers just keep emailing me. It's like, hey, Tim Baldwin gave me your email. Would you want some old crap? And I keep saying yes. So through that, I've got almost half of another set of roller coaster magazines that someone's getting for his birthday.
That's cool.
I wonder who that is. But yeah, all right. Okay, so obviously it's not just coasters. You also have your own sort of content. So tell us a little bit about what you do with that.
Yeah. I started the thing. We have a channel called Larson Loopers. Our last name is Larson, so I was like, hey, why not name it after the not so greatest ride ever? And just went with the Larson Loopers name. And you would not believe how many people think that we are actually affiliated with Larson and are like, I get messages in my Twitter DMs of people thinking that we're like legitimately part of Larson Corporation. I'm like, no, we're just a family and a guy, or either that or they think my name's Larson. So I've kind of started taking that name on. But we started out just doing theme park content, our visits as a family, and then also kind of branched out, did some like just general travel vlogs, because for work I travel the world a lot, and a lot of times I'm alone and super bored. So I'll pull out the camera and record. Spent 2 days just running around Rio de Janeiro, going to all the super cool spots, and put up a video of it. Nobody watches those. The only thing that ever really gets traction are the coaster videos, but it's just kind of fun. I lost, during COVID, I kind of lost the desire to keep editing and doing anything. Which is kind of odd because we were just sitting around doing nothing, and I probably could have spent that time making a lot of videos, but instead, I guess we were playing as a family, so I guess that's probably better. But yeah, it's a fun hobby. I don't take it too seriously. It's never gonna be a big popular channel. It's just something that I do for fun when I kind of feel like throwing together a video.
I think I remember you telling me at one point it was almost with the roller coaster stuff. You were almost treating it like like the new form of home videos.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it really is the next home movie. Like these little YouTube videos that YouTube families are making. If you approach it from this is something I want these kids to be able to see, when I'm old, and they can't say that we never did anything cool as a family. I can be like, yeah, look at all these awesome trips that we went on.
Mm-hmm. As far as just kind of doing it as your own thing and not trying to make it big, I mean, we get that. I think that's the way it should be. Just kind of have fun with it. Don't care about the numbers. Don't care about how big it gets, and just do it. I mean, that's been our approach.
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, nobody's going to get rich making roller coaster content, or very, very few people are going to even make what's close to a living, doing roller coaster content. I've told Blake this because he wants to be in, he dreams of being in the roller coaster industry. I'm like, no, don't strive for that. Strive for doing something that allows you to enjoy what you love. And for me, I'm in IT. I do pretty well for myself, so we're able to, as a family, go and do all these really, really fun things. And if you're in the coaster community, you're either working at a theme park not making a whole lot and really not able to travel a whole lot, or you're fighting for one of like 5 positions designing roller coasters in the world. So it's for me, it was just finding something that was fun to do, and the kids all really enjoy it. They love sharing their videos with their kids from school. I'm convinced about 3/4 of our views are from just my kids watching it at school with their friends.
There's so much fun because I don't do YouTube. I do the Twitter and Instagram stuff, but there's a lot of fun when it's like, oh yeah, it's like I did this thing. Here's my Instagram. You can go see all the photos I post from all these trips. And like I have a lot of my school friends that follow that, and it's like, I'll see them like it, and then they'll talk to me the next day. It's like, okay, you got to tell me about that ride you posted yesterday because that looked really fun, and it's really fun to get to share it with this person that has no clue what the voyage is. So you take 20 minutes out of your AP Physics class to explain to everyone what the voyage is and why it is of note.
Yep, and it's the exact same thing at work. So like among colleagues, a bunch of them know what the YouTube channel is. And so like we'll be in very, very serious meetings, and then all of a sudden something that I've put up on my channel will become a topic of discussion. And they're like, first of all, they're like, how on earth do you travel as much as you do? Because I get around a lot. Like I think I travel more than most people that are in the community, just because of mixing it with work and stuff. But it's cool to have. Yeah, and it's also a cool thing to be like, yeah, you don't believe I went to Energylandia? Check out all my videos from me walking around Energylandia.
There's nothing more rewarding than, from mine has always been Shivering Timbers, and everyone's like, no, there's no way you've ridden Shivering Timbers, and I just post like a bunch of Shivering Timbers pictures. So you want to talk about this ride, shall we? I've got my camera here because I had it out yesterday, so I'm definitely gonna be holding it the rest of the time because my precious. But there's so much. It's such a rewarding feeling too, hitting upload or hitting post, because I've taken it to heart. It's just my crazy passion project hobby. It's essentially what this podcast has turned into as well. But there's so much fun seeing all of these people just react. It's like, oh, that's so cool, or commenting on the video. It's like, oh, you rode that, or how was it? It's one of my favorite feelings, just to see people enjoy what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a format to share. I mean, other than like, because if you didn't, weren't making videos, weren't posting pictures, right? What are you just posting? Like, are you just saying, "Hey, I'm here," and then maybe post a crappy picture you take on your camera? Well, that's most of the time what I do, other than the videos that come afterwards. But it's fun to have something high quality to put your time and effort into when you have some downtime or something, because like for me, as I've gotten older, I went through a period where I literally had no hobbies, and the only thing I had was work and doing things with the family. And now that you get to a point where you actually can have a hobby again, and it's fun to be able to document it and express yourself through it.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you guys, but I do get a lot of crap from my coworkers for my hobby being going around riding roller coasters, and I'm like,
Yes.
come on, like. Yeah, it's probably kind of nerdy, but then again, people are just as nerdy about traveling to every baseball stadium, traveling to every football stadium.
Yeah.
So before I got into coasters, when I was traveling for work, I visited 37 different European soccer stadiums. So I probably spent a fortune doing that when I look at how close I was to all of the parks in Europe, and I didn't even consider that. So and I could have easily gone to those parks instead. So it's just kind of what I do as an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have definitely gotten just lightly picked on at school from people about it. 100%.
Oh yeah, Blake
just
Blake
because
sees
it's
it
such
too.
an uncommon thing. It's like uncommon and weird, kind of. So it's like, hey, why do you do that? That's kind of odd. But whatever. I'm having fun with it. Just keep doing it anyway.
And so I'm the oddball in this, because I know Chris has told me about it, and I know you've mentioned me about it to Blake. Words hard tonight. I know you have mentioned it to. I'm not even gonna try to say it anymore. I can't talk. But where I go to school, or am about to stop going to school, everyone is so weird as is that no one questions it. Like, I go to the school of oddballs and weird people, and so I have some friends that are like birds. I love her name is Piper. I'm gonna mention her by name because she won't care. She loves birds. Bird skeletons, like, you just made her year. And so it's one of those. It's weird, and it's always been one of those things like, oh, roller coaster. That's a completely normal thing to like. Now they sometimes are like, okay, shut up. We've heard enough about lightning rod today, which is a sentence I hear probably once a week. But
isn't that usually Chris saying that?
That's once a week, every episode, pretty much.
Yeah, okay, excluding him, because yes, he says that once a week. Mazden probably mentions it once a week. She's like, shut up. I've heard it all. You've told it to me all a million times. I might have to bring it up tomorrow night at dinner just to annoy her. I think I will. Anyway, but it's such a weird and unique niche little hobby, and ever since I've gotten into it, the community is really good. It has its moments where I just want to unplug from it, but overall, it is a very fun community to be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. There are, like you said, some times where you just don't want to be a part of it. But as a parent, it's been interesting seeing this community, coming into it as a parent, wanting to get in myself, but then also wanting my kids to get in, and finding the right people that you trust for, advice about who you're hanging out with, giving you warnings about who you might and just to make sure you have a good time, good safe time. Love this community.
Well, I mean, we're all part of the same friend group. I think we found the best friend group in the community. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, they're probably why I really got into it, because I made connections with them less than a year into this. I started listening to their podcasts very early on, and then met up with them, did a few events with them, and now hanging out with them, all the time.
Yep.
When we get the chance. Heck, I went to Utah and got to do some, unsaid fun things with them there.
Did you meet? God, I cannot speak tonight. Someone just put a filter on. Okay. You met them at Carowinds for the first time, right? Was that
right? So it was the same day, or the day before I met you. It was the first time I met them.
Because we were there the day that the actual live happened, but we had some other friends with us, and we were just off doing our own thing. And it was that next day, it was like, okay, we got to meet up with these people. They seem cool. I'd never heard of the Drunk Riders at that point. I didn't know who.
I even specifically remember when I was mentioning it, I was being, because you were what, 15 at the time, maybe. I was
older than that.
Much with your dad, like, yeah, they're kind of more of an adult podcast.
I think, let's see, that was 2019. I would have been 16 at that point. It's like, who are the Drunk Riders? Who is that beautiful bald man there? And then I think we spent the ride home listening to them. I was like, oh, I found my people. This is...
Oh, just such awesome guys.
And then, yeah, from there, because I'd always had an interest in podcasting. I've listened to podcasts my entire life. Coaster radio was like a staple of road trips for a long time, and we still do it on road trips because they're really good podcast. Mm-hmm. But meeting the Drunk Riders and hearing what they were doing, I was like, okay, if these three rambunctious people can do it, so can I. And so I talked Chris into doing a podcast with me.
Here we are.
And look where you are now.
Talking to you.
Talking to me. On a podcast. So you've arrived.
Yeah.
On a Monday night.
I mean, I'd say officially you arrived when you had Taylor on last season.
Oh my Lord.
How that happened in the first season is like beyond us. But
I am so happy we rode the... I am so... Actually, I have you to thank.
It all gets back to that dog.
No. I have you to thank, because you didn't want to ride Voyage with Dad Blake and I, and you let Taylor take your spot.
Oh, yeah. And then you guys you were in line with him for like an hour and a half. And so
through the whole thing, I built it up. And when we got on Voyage, I was like, hey, out of curiosity, would you be interested in maybe coming on my podcast? It's like, maybe. It's like, yeah, we pretty much are the Drunk Riders, but without the drinking part. It's like, oh yeah, I'd be down. Yep.
There you go. As simple as that.
The glue that holds some people together, actually, or at least makes a connection.
Thank you.
That, and then the dog ride happened, and then Keys to the Kingdom. I think I spent most of the day with them. And now I've had him holding a camera to my face as Sarah just comes in and... So, okay, random tangent since we're talking about this. I had brought the slap up. One of my friends, we got our yearbook stay at school, and so one of my friends signed my yearbook and said, I look forward to seeing more high-quality footage of you being slapped in the face. In my yearbook.
Don't make a habit out of losing slap bets.
I'm going to try not to. I'm literally not going to start dating anyone until your son does.
Oh my God.
So I forget, if he starts dating, then you can slap him, or...
Or if I start dating, he gets to slap me.
Shoot. He's a good-looking kid now.
Uh-huh.
He's like 6 inches taller than he was last year, so...
I heard his voice earlier, and it is definitely an octave deeper than it was last
It's
summer.
hilarious.
Anyway, so we've talked a lot about being an enthusiast, but who's the biggest enthusiast in your family?
You know, I think I have surpassed Blake, possibly. Because, you know, Blake's going into high school. He plays some sports. He still watches way more coaster YouTube than I do. But
I barely watch any coaster YouTube, so that's not saying much.
And he knows everything about everything. Like that's his thing. He memorizes facts and looks into things about coasters. I don't really do that. I plan trips. Like
That's so. Okay, I know you're the same way. Planning the trips is just as much fun.
No. What differentiates me from Mike is that I actually go on these trips that I plan. I give him crap about that. He always spends all the time on the drunk riders planning these trips, but I actually go.
Yeah, it's the drunk riders bingo card. You got to drink if you plan the trip.
Yep.
I think it should be honestly retroactive too. If he doesn't go on said trip, you have to drink again. We'd all be drinking for a very long time. Planning the trips is just as much fun for me because it's like, okay, what if we did this park and what's the drive like and hotels and cramming as much as possible into.
Well, and if time was no option, like if if my wife would let me and the kids be gone for longer than 2 weeks, technically I guess our trip with the Stumble this summer is going to be it's 20 days that we'll be gone. So that's pretty long, but trying to fit as much in, but at the same time I've become like, I don't like the crazy road trips like where you're like, oh, I can hit these 3 parks in one day.
Oh no, that's never.
I like to go and take my time and enjoy it. So like when people look at my itineraries and they're like, why do you have, why are you at Wallaby, Belgium for 2 days? That's a 1-day park. I'm like, first of all, they have a brand new Intamin. I want to ride that as many times as I can. And they also have 9 other credits that I don't want to just sloth through and then just leave the park and not be able to ride Conda as many times as I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to enjoy.
The big road trips we've done we do the same thing. It's like we're gonna build a full day in for parks. Most parks usually, even if it's a Dorney park or a Michigan's Adventure. I mean, Michigan's Adventure I've spent way too much time at, but Dorney, when we were there, we had pretty much a full 2 days. We had a half day one day, a full day, and then another half day. So, and we do that. That's almost our road trip format: as half day we drive, do a half day, full day, half day drive, and then start with the next park. That's our cycle. That's how we did our first ever big road trip, and it just gives you so much more time to enjoy what that park has to offer. Because there are some parks, like if you tried to do it in a day, Silver Dollar City immediately comes to mind. You can get everything done in a day. You're not re-riding anything in the middle of the summer, and there's so much to do at that park. You want to re-ride it.
Well, and that's a park you just want to kind of explore and see everything that they have. And I love Silver Dollar City.
Me too. And then you get to Cedar Point, and it's like, yep, you're going to need a week if you really want to do everything.
Yep. My first time to Cedar Point was 2 years ago, and I did 5 days.
So my dad went in 96. So he'd been before and had most of anything prior to 96, he had the credit for. The first time they took me was in 2016. And they'd announced they were taking out Mean Streak. I've always had a love for anything that's big. It's big wooden roller coasters in general, I'm a fan of. And so when they announced they were going to take out Mean Streak, I was like, I really want to ride that before it gets taken out. I mean, we knew it was going to be RMC'd, but I really want to try to ride it one time. We had 1 day. And so we did what any logical coaster enthusiast does. We dropped all of the money on the Gold VIP tour, which is the only way to successfully do Cedar Point in a day. We rode Dragster 7 times, Millennium Force 6 times, Maverick 3 times, Raptor 3 times, Gatekeeper 3 times.
Can we just talk about how awesome it is to have either a VIP or a fast pass or something?
Oh, yes.
Especially if it's just like I do a lot of parks solo when I travel for work and things. And when I did Alton Towers, I got their whatever their top tier is. It was like £100. It was like $130 at the time.
Yeah.
But I got 26 rides on Smiler. And
that's a lot of inversions.
That's a lot of that. And I think that and Nemesis were my 2 that I rode the most. So my head was probably spinning quite a bit. But
I just got to do that math. Hold on. 364 inversions.
If you ever wonder how I am the way I am, that's why.
You've been corrected. No, when we did that VIP tour, it was the most amazing feeling because the Raptor queue was completely full and stretching down the midway, and they just walk you up the exit ramp and put you on the very next train. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. And
Do
then
you
the
get
best
to pick whatever seat you want?
pick whatever seat you
Oh,
want.
God.
And the best feeling in the world, because how many people can say, one, they have the entire Millennium Force credit? Because when you do a Millennium Force, go
See,
up the exit
I've got
ramp.
that as well.
Yep. You go up the
Parent
exit ramp.
pass.
Yep. And you sit down in that front row, and you get to roll into that station and just have all of the stares at why are there people on that train. There shouldn't be people on that train. And then the announcement, if there's someone in your row, please don't sit on them. They're there for a reason. We'll get you on the next one. This is one of those feelings. It's like
You love feeling special.
Well, that's this entire community, but it's been
That's
5
true.
years, and I just remember sitting there in that station, just being like, "Don't look at the person that you just cut after they've waited probably 3 hours." Dragster was the same way, rolling in the Dragster station and hearing the people go, "Come on!" Yep. But then, there's fast lanes, and fast lanes, like, it's pretty much the same thing. It's like, just waltz past this line, hop right on. Saved our butts at Fiesta, Texas, and those were the cheapest fast passes I've ever seen. How much were they a piece? Or Fiesta?
Oh, it's SeaWorld. Oh my gosh, yeah. The $7. I keep looking at the Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and they don't offer anything for when we're going to be there. Or they offer like one-time use passes, and I'm not going to. I'll be there for 2 days, so I'm not going to pay for anything extra.
Yeah, fast lanes are. We've got them for Cedar Point this summer because I think that's going to be the only way you're going to survive at Cedar Point this year. And even then, I think there's probably still going to be waits for it.
I've got mine that one day with you.
We every year we just buy the President's Day deal fast lanes because that's the cheapest you're going to get them.
Well, did they have that this year?
They didn't do it in 2021 because of COVID, but we got them last year in March or February of 2020. And that's what we've done. We've done that the last couple of years. We did it at Carowinds one year, and we've done it at Cedar Point. We've done it at Kings Island.
The best Carowinds with the fast lane though, or whatever they call it at Cedar Point or Cedar Fair, but going up skipping the line on Fury, just the people that are just looking at you because you basically are walking alongside them the whole time. Oh, I love it. They're looking at you like, what makes you so special? Like, well, I spent $80.
Yeah, we've done the other fun story I have was Knott's Berry Farm. We had their fast lane, and Knott's is great because they don't have like a fast lane and a fast lane plus. It's just one tier, and it was CoasterCon ERT, and we were there in the middle of July. So Ghost Rider, we were supposed to have an hour of Ghost Rider ERT that night, but they didn't cut the queue off ever. So Ghost Rider still had a 2-hour wait at park closing, which, just ate up all of our ERT time on it. And so they were like, what do we do? And we were like, we just walked over to the fast lane entrance, and we're like, can we just still use our fast lanes even though the park's closed and we're supposed to be getting ERT? We just lapped Ghost Rider that way. I was like, I feel bad for all of those acers that just didn't get fast lane and want their one ride and are stuck at the back of that 2-hour line.
Oh, that would stink. Yeah, I hate it when the parks aren't necessarily prepared for an ERT event. Because normally you'd think, oh, we're going to look at our line, we're going to cut it off early. But yeah, I've been to a few ERTs that have been hosed by not cutting off the queue early.
Not like continuing this tangent, but when we did CoasterCon in California, when we went out there, I fully expected like Knott's to be the park that would be the roll out the red carpet because it's Cedar Fair and their Cedar Fair. I was just expecting it to be better. Magic Mountain floored them in terms of rolling out like the amenities. they were like red carpet. Oh, let's do flame grilled steaks one night, and do you want ERT and behind the scenes and all of it? It's all yours. And then we get the knots, and it's like, yeah, you can have like a tiny bit of ERT, but we're gonna forget to close queues, and it's like, oh, here's some chicken. That's it. No behind the scenes. I was like, well, Magic Mountain beat them by a landslide. And then, they were like, yeah, you don't got to get off X2. Just stay in your seat for an hour and a half.
Oh, gosh.
Hap-
See, I only have one ride on X2. And it was one of the worst rides I've ever had on any coaster.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I know it was amazing. It jackhammered close to the end, and it just destroyed my head. And I had to sit down for 3 hours afterwards until my headache went away. And so I didn't get back on it that day. But it's weird because I know everybody says it's amazing. It felt amazing up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to get back and do it.
But
unfortunately, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my story with I-305, because it's like, I know it's a good ride, but man, did I spend 6 hours in a water park trying to recover from that. Because I was like, I need to just go sit in a pool for a while to recover from that marathon without having had any water or food prior.
So my secret that I've learned since the X2 incident is just when I go to a theme park, I take a few Excedrin before I even start the day. It just gets my head in a better place. And if I do get a headache, it's already got the Excedrin there working.
Yep.
Yeah. I need to start doing that because of like that classic B&M headache, Like
Yep.
even not just from the over the shoulder restraints, it's just like it just happens. Especially when I go to Busch, since it's pretty much all B&Ms.
I have to make myself eat. That is one, like when we were on a road trip,
Mhm.
it's like, you have to go eat lunch.
We're not going to talk about over Georgia.
Eat and stay hydrated.
Yes, it's like, you're going to go eat lunch now because you will have a massive headache. Like, I've gotten off fury and pain before because I hadn't eaten. I was like, okay, we're going to eat now because I'm going to jump off. It's like, nope, need food.
That day at Over Georgia, we did not eat until 3. You remember that?
Yeah, you were
Nacho,
not
nacho.
doing hot up until we ate.
Hey, that was just because Cyclone kept breaking down.
That's fair.
Okay.
Hey, at least you got into the park no issues that day.
Whatever.
Stop trying to bring your camera in.
Yeah, it's like clearly set on the website or something, right? But
we can talk about that. Somebody who just keeps going off on you guys because it's not allowed.
All right. Do we want to get back on track?
No.
Okay.
I'm just watching Jack trying to think about who that was.
I think I know who it was. Who we were messaging about the other day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. That's where my brain was going, but I wasn't. Okay.
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, they shall not be mentioned.
They will not be mentioned.
Just
okay, James.
Type in the chat.
We've got to ask, because you're probably the only American that's like, yeah, I've been there. Energylandia. You must tell us.
Absolute favorite place on earth.
Is it the promised land?
Okay, so it got so much crap there. Like it's just got a bunch of junk coasters. But then it has amazing coasters, and it's beautiful. And I just loved it. I spent 3 days there, and when I go back in a month and a half, I've got 4 days planned there. That's how much I like that park.
I'm not at all mad that you're staying at Western Camp either.
And yes, I'm staying at Western
Camp.
Not
at all mad that you're staying at Western Camp.
I tried to do one of like the teepees or the carriages, but I just could not get myself to have to do a shared bathroom because
you got the sheriff's cabin.
Taking my 12-year-old daughter with me, and I didn't want her to have to go in to a place alone. So we're doing the sheriff's cabin, so we have our own bathroom. But that place looks so cool. Chris, have you looked at Western Camp?
I have seen a little bit from Jack.
Out of everything, cool. Not getting to go on that trip last year, I'm honestly most disappointed about not getting to go to Western Camp.
It looks amazing because I stayed at another like really weird place that was close by, but Western Camp just looks so cute and cool, and they have a train that goes from Western Camp over to Energylandia, and it's just. But the park is it's wonderful. And people give them a hard time for having all these kiddie coasters and things, but those get way longer lines than the big attractions do because all the people that are coming there are coming with families and little kids, and they all get stuck doing the crap, and that leaves Zadra open. I think I ended up with 33 times in one day was my record, and that's only because they don't let you re-ride and they don't let you skip any part of the queue, so you have to go all the way back around, and it takes 6 minutes from the entrance to walk just to the station. If you want to check out my channel, I have a full walkthrough of that.
I'll put the link to that vlog in the description because it's one of my favorite ones, just because of how ridiculously long that queue is.
And you're making somebody money because that video, because of the music they play in queue, it got
flagged.
It got flagged, and I just let it stand because it was like you're playing copyrighted music from the first minute up till the 6th minute. Would you like to remove the music? No, I want to hear the music.
Yeah, that queue, I thought I'd seen some long queues, and then I watched that video. I was like, nope, this has got pretty much all of them beat.
And there's not a single place in that entire queue where they can make it shorter. It's all a hard queue.
Designed. Very well designed.
I mean, I did have one time on my last day where I waited 30 minutes for it, and it was not that far out of the station. I can't imagine how long the line would, or how long the wait would be if that thing went the whole way. And they're only running one train, all but a 30-minute period of the time I was there.
I know for like Lightning Rod's queue, when they designed that, the entire, if it's not social distance normal, it's a 3-hour. It's 3 hours from station to queue doors, and if you walk that at a normal pace, it takes maybe 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes tops. I would be scared if I got to Zadra and it were all the way out.
10-hour wait.
Hagrid's line starts here.
But what's funny is that the Zadra queue is bad, but Hyperion's is even worse. Like, it's not as long, but you essentially are walking like inside of this building, this big rectangular staircase. It just kind of gradually keeps going up, and you go up like 5 levels, and then you cross a bridge, and then you go back down 6 levels to get to the. It is so odd.
What?
And
I need to go to this part.
And they have like Hyperion was the first one where they were trying to do something special. Like, and they created videos, and they actually have a theme going if you can speak Polish. But like the videos have like some of the weirdest looking actors, and like the costuming that they've got, because it's supposed to be like a space themed thing. And oh my gosh, so funny. Gosh, that ride is so good.
Well, is the business going to be open? That's the real question.
They said it's going to open with the park, and it was supposed to open last weekend, but they didn't get the go ahead from the government to open. So we'll see. If it doesn't open, I'll be sad.
I mean, you'll be sad, and then they're going to announce they're building some other record-breaking ride, and you'll go back.
Well, and I know for sure that I'm not going to get their new mine train this summer, because that's now been announced as a 2022 attraction. But then again, Zadra was supposed to be a 2020 attraction, and they opened it in 2019.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I am so glad. So the funny story with my trip to Energylandia is I was at an event with the Drunk Riders the day that the very first test footage of Zadra went up. We were all at Kentucky Kingdom, And I saw it and I said, I want to go to that. And so I was like, let's see, it's July now. It'll be safe by October. So I just jumped on Delta site, used some miles and booked a trip, and then got home and asked my wife for permission.
And the funny thing about Zadra opening that early too is that it blew over while they were building it.
Yet Iron Glossy still
turnaround area, it wasn't the main structure.
I mean,
but it's still insane.
It's a testament to how RMC can build a ride fast if they want to.
And it is the prettiest coaster. Have you seen some of the drone footage of that thing? Just beautiful.
And Thrill Rides Photography is constantly posting pictures of it, and I'm like...
So, funny thing with Thrill Rides Photography, me and him were at Legendia the same day. And so he was out photographing Lek Coaster. And he came back and looked at all of his pictures, and I was in about 90% of all of his photos.
Oh,
yep.
I really want to go to Poland.
I really want to meet him just because there's like 3 of us left in roller coaster photography on Team Nikon. And I just want to meet the other Team Nikon people because I can't find anyone else.
Everybody going Sony?
Everyone's Sony or Canon. I'm like, come on. It's like, what's not to love about Nikon minus the fact that they're behind the trend, slow, and their cameras are way too expensive for what they are. But still, what's not to love?
I think you may have just listed what's not to love. I'm not telling you that, but...
Hey, the Z9 is coming. They confirmed they're doing the Z9, and I'm probably going to just drop whatever egregious amount of money that is for that camera because it's going to be phenomenal. I think this is
got college to get through, Jack. See, this is me being a father.
But it's got 80 megapixels.
Oh, man.
I mean, just think if you had that for your Europe trip, how good everything would look in that.
Shooting with Scott's A7 IV, which has 61 megapixels, my computer about crashed trying to just load those files. I was like, oh my lord.
Yeah, so just think about how much money you're going to have to spend. It's not just the camera, it's a new computer to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm such a dad.
I mean, this thing ain't shabby. This thing shoots at 30 megapixels, which, on Instagram is like ultimate quality.
Right.
So, okay, we've done our rambling.
We have really rambled a lot.
Hey, we are the Discount Drunk Riders for a reason. But before we wrap this up, we got to ask 2 questions that we ask everyone. Favorite roller coaster?
All right. Favorite? It's a absolute tie between Steel Vengeance and Fury. And I say it that way because if I had one ride on one coaster, absolutely Steel Vengeance. If I had to marathon a coaster, absolutely Fury. Mostly because 2 rides in a row on Steel Vengeance would murder me.
Oh, I don't complain about that ride getting a long line because you can't marathon it. It will.
Yeah, I got 2 rides on it within 5 minutes the first night that we went there, and I was sore for the next 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for the summer.
Oh yeah, I would. Cedar Point, my ride to marathon is Millennium. If they've got the exit gate open where you can just go ring, ring, ding, 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 which I've done, I've gotten lucky a couple times. It's like I will ride Millennium all night. Steel Vengeance, 1 ride, and then I need to break.
Yeah. All right.
So that's my favorite.
The last question is favorite park, which I think we can, take a guess.
I think I'm gonna go with Energylandia.
Yeah.
But Silver Dollar City has that. It's like Jack and Dollywood. Like Silver Dollar City was my home park for when I was starting to become an enthusiast, really, and I really, really love that park. And I think that there's very little that they do wrong. But on the other hand, they don't have that big of a coaster collection, but they have a great coaster collection. So it's hard to say that that's my favorite, but man, it's up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it. So, quick plugs. Find us on Instagram at twisted_travelers, on Twitter at twistedtraveler, but the R is a 1. You can follow me on Instagram at twistedtravelers. Chris, Jack.
At Thrilling Moment on Instagram and Twitter. Stay tuned on Instagram because we're making a push for 2K since the 1-year anniversary is coming up. I may or may not have a Glorious Steel Vengeance print I'm giving away real soon.
All right.
And James, where can the people find all of your craziness?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Twitter at Larson Loopers, and then on YouTube, Larson Loopers. There is an Instagram for Larson Loopers that I think I put something up like once a year or so.
All right.
I will put links to all of his stuff down in the description.
James, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of
Been
course.
fun.
It was a pleasure. You are welcome back anytime. And to everybody listening, thank you as always, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Twisted Travelers Podcast.